So I'll be doing what should be the second round of testing on this guy. This Rose Gold console. Looks like it didn't have any issues to report. Cleared the sleep and image retention test. Let me look up my notes on this console. Oh, right. Okay, this one... Oh, God. Okay, I have way too many notes open. Let me close a bunch of these. Alright, so this one had the soldered digitizer cable. That's the one I repaired. And from my first assessment, the first test, I remember looking at it and it looked solid. Like, I had some pretty good solder joints on there. Those shouldn't break. Small motherboard silver screw and game card slot screw post are stripped. Not... I'm guessing that's probably something I did. It's a bit of a shame. But screwing metal in the plastic, just sometimes it happens. And the motherboard is not reporting any issues. Okay, cool. So I can just go on doing a normal round of testing for this pink console. So let me turn it off and look at the screens. Turn off my light, I should say. Oh yeah, those match really well. Sweet. I would say maybe the top screen's a little more red. Overall, that is a very good match. So what I'll do is plug in an R4 card with a piece of homebrew software, and what I'll be doing is testing the tactile buttons. These are all the face buttons and the shoulder buttons. I need to get my list nearby so I don't gloss over anything. I'll press all the buttons 10 or so times. Face buttons I'm not worried about. They're usually always fine. Shoulder buttons tend to be the problems though, so I tend to spend a lot more time with them. Okay. Alright, both buttons are perfect. I don't detect any problems with them. I do rapid inputs, slow inputs, just to try and see if it reads that within that entire actuation point. So when it clicks, all the way until you bottom out that switch, and then back until it sort of unclicks, so to speak. Next is, you could probably guess, the touchscreen test. So what I'll do is just draw a perimeter, and then I'll just do swirls within, just to see if I can get any sort of erratic inputs, which it all looks fine. Next is the sound system, speaker, microphone, headphone jack. I'll combo that with an SD card slot test because I have a song loaded up on an SD card. My assumption is if the console can read the SD card and read the song off of it, that is otherwise good. Let me do quick. As I press the volume buttons, the system is responding. Buttons are good. La 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 la. Ooh, hang on. Yeah, no, this one doesn't buzz. Okay. I started noticing recently that sometimes I have microphones that will create like a very mild buzzing. I really don't know how to describe it. I'm not much of an audio person, but this one doesn't have that buzz to it. But the other consoles that do have a buzz, it's not to the degree that would create false inputs. It's just sort of this like background droning of... I really don't know how to describe it. Oop, I'm going a little too fast here. So what I'm going to do, it read the SD card, it sees the song, it started playing it, but What I'm going to do is play the song, listen to both speakers, plug in my headphones, listen to both earbuds, see if it's playing out of both channels. Yep. And when I plugged in the headphones, the speakers cut out, which is what it's supposed to do. So it's all good on that front. Read the SD card just fine. I assume it's otherwise fine. I don't try and write anything to the SD card slot. Like, I could probably take a picture and write it to the SD card, but I'm going to make the bold assumption that if it can read the SD card and play content off of it, it would be very strange for it not to be able to write content to it. I don't test it too hard because I've never run into that problem. Cameras are next. I just basically see, does it give a feed? And there's nothing wonky about the feed. Yep, both cameras work. Charge port. So I have my USB tester off to the side here. I'll plug my charger in. Kind of blind. There we go. System's responding. Charge light's going. Drawing 0.1 amp. There it goes. Took a second there. Close the console. Jiggle the charge port or charge cable around. Seeing if that orange light cuts out at all. Which it doesn't. That tells me the charge port is good and the solder joints on the motherboard are good. Game card slot. So I will take my stack of 20 game cards without dropping them. They're kind of slipping on me here. Oh god, WWE from the top rope. Alright, so I'll kind of explain it as I'm sort of piling through it. So I'll slot the game card in as normal, see if it shows up on the main menu, which it does. And then what I'll do is put my finger on the game card and shift it from side to side. There's just a tiny bit of play in the game card slot for these game cards. And as I'm doing that, I'll push down on the game card all the way up until the mechanism engages for the ejection. It clicks. And then I'll keep going down until it actually bottoms out in the game card slot. All the way until you can't push it anymore. All of this to try and see if I can get these game cards to randomly disconnect for just a second. Or just a fraction of a second. And then I'll relock the game card in. And then, as you're kind of seeing, I slap it against my open palm to see if I can get the game card to disconnect. And so far, so good. I usually will do the sort of side-to-side sort of pushing 2 or 3 times. Every time that game card's been disconnecting is because I eject it out of the slot and put it back in. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through all of these game cards, kind of paying attention to how these game cards respond. Part of a consequence of me having so many game cards is it takes a little while to get through all of them, but I feel like this creates a very accurate test, adding more trials to it. sort of helps the average, so to speak. Did I take my SD card card out? Yes, I did. Okay, I just didn't see it. I don't want to accidentally leave it in a console and then can't find it. Or worse, accidentally sell a console with a SD card or a game card in it, which would be most unfortunate. Especially one of my R4 cards. Bejeweled 3. I'm gonna be a problem child again. Alright, I wasn't able to get any of these game cards to cut out, try as I might. So, the only other test I have left to do is Wi-Fi, which I can't do because the only access point I can connect it to is my phone, which my phone I'm currently using as my camera, so I can't do anything about that until the final test. But everything turned out fine. I'll clear it through the second test, get it ready for final testing. Sweet. Good job, Pink Console.